All right, we're going to take a minute here and cover some stuff that's required for making fires. As outdoorsmen, fire is a vital necessity that we need to know how to make. And sometimes it can be harder with difficult conditions, with wet conditions. So I'm going to cover a whole podcast that's going to explain all that stuff in detail, but I thought I'd give you a little visual support here to match some of that stuff. First thing to understand is that all fire is basically built the same. It has to be built the same way regardless of everything. You're going to start with a tinder bundle like we have here, which is basically a bunch of dried grasses and, it can be dried pine needles, dried leaves, anything that's incredibly dry and fibrous, it will light real easy. The next step is going to be sticks, and I mean your fuel for these sticks. I mean real little teeny beany toothpick size. This is a very important step. This is what's going to be required to get this fire going and off the ground. From that pile, you're going to move into the next size. So this one's going to be a little bit bigger of a stick in diameter. I don't care how long they are. I'm talking about the diameter, but this one will be a little bigger. Then you'll go to sticks that are a little bigger after that, and then a little bigger, and the progression keeps going. But you do not want to skip any of these steps. You don't want to go from the tinder bundle over straight into these sticks. It won't work for you. And if it does, it'll only be in the best of conditions. You need to go from here to the smallest sticks, to the next size, to the next size, to the next size, and keep right on going up until you get into log size. That's how all fire is created, and those steps cannot be skipped. This is vital. It has to be built and maintained and babied through the process, just like having a little kid. You got to work it up from the ground. You can't have a kid come right out of the womb and then 3 weeks later be running marathons. It doesn't work that way. You got to teach him to crawl before he can. First he has to hold his head up, then he's got to learn to roll over, then he's going to learn to crawl, then he's going to learn to take steps, then he's going to learn to walk. I mean, it's the same process with fire. It works the same way. Now, as far as fire, lighter, number one thing, you always have to have this in the woods, period. This has got to be there with you, and I recommend 3. 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is good. That's kind of the attitude with these. So I keep them in, at least 3 of them on me at all times, not on me, but in different places in my pack. And even though I don't smoke, I always have a lighter in my pocket all the time. So that one's going to be vital. That's going to make things easier. I'm not going to use the lighter to light any of this. I'm going to show you some other primitive methods here that are there. I always have fire starters with me, a sparker. They're just very reliable in case the lighter breaks. I really like them. This one here is a standard, just a cheap little $3 model. It works like a champ. This one is a fire steel model, and I drilled a hole in it so that I can put a ring on there and I can carry it around my neck, or I can loop it right around my belt or around my pack. I even have some of these that I've cut in half, and I carry one on my keyring all the time with me as well too. Magnifying glass, I did another version of this, and I did it outside where you could see it really good, but this is just a thin little credit card size magnifying glass, and I carry it in my wallet with me all the time. Mine's been used a million times. It's pretty beat up. They're very durable, but I did a podcast outside with that. This one I'm doing inside the garage. That way we're not, so the light's not quite so bright in the sun, and we don't have to worry about wind blowing things around, and so I figured it was a more controlled environment to show you. And in a magnesium fire starter, this has got a flint striker on this side, and you actually peel the magnesium off and use that as a flame source. You just peel those shavings right into your tinder, and then you'll light those too. So that's another good option as well. We'll see if I got enough time to allow me to get into that. Some other options too, if you're, to make things easier for you. If you want to carry some fire starters with you and you want to make them that are really good and really cheap, 100% cotton balls work incredible. And then if you take and coat them with some standard Vaseline, they will light they'll light faster, and they'll burn bigger, brighter, and longer. And then another oddball setup here is this is regular hand sanitizer, and what I do is when we get it, we take out about this much out of the top of it, and we fill that back up with regular 80 or whatever 70% rubbing alcohol. Pour that rubbing alcohol back into that little gap that you took out, and shake it up good, and it enforces the alcohol content in them. Like this one's already 65% in there already. We bump it up a little bit more, so it's probably 70 or 72% alcohol. Still use it as hand sanitizer, but this is an amazing fire starter, which I'll show you. So kind of give you some examples of what we're going to use and the best ways to do it. Now, as far as fire goes, to give you an example of the differences here with a standard cotton ball, you can take a standard cotton ball. You can take a fire striker. I just use the front side of my knife, usually right down here. It doesn't seem to hurt them. But you could put a spark into that, and it'll light and it'll burn really good right there like that for you. Not a bad thing. And it'll burn for a little while. But now if you take, while that's burning, if you take a cotton ball, and you just take it, you take a little dab of Vaseline right here. Put it right on your finger, and then just rub it all over that cotton ball, and just soak that cotton ball in that Vaseline, just like this. Put a little bit more on there so it gets going, and then what's nice is you can store these and keep them with you, and they'll always last. You can break them into smaller sizes, doesn't matter. But if you take that, and then once, see, look at how fast that cotton ball's already burning out. I'm going to blow it out. And then I'm going to scoot that over a touch, and I'm going to wipe my hands off here real fast from that Vaseline. But these, when you do this, it will make them last a lot longer, burn a lot brighter, and a lot better. It just works a lot better, and it almost waterproofs them a little bit as well too, in case they did get in there. But you take this one here that we did, and we laced it with that, with the petroleum jelly. Take that, we'll fire it up. And then look at this thing here. Look at the difference in the burn that we get from that with that Vaseline on there. So, and it'll burn for a lot longer, and it'll keep burning a lot bigger and a lot brighter, and it makes a huge difference. So I highly recommend it if you're going to carry, or if you want to bring, you know, homemade fire starters with you in the woods. Nothing out there is going to beat just simple cotton balls, and then put them in petroleum jelly. Once you get them into petroleum jelly, just store. You can fit about 15 or 20 of them in one of these little mash containers. It's also got a nice little flint striker on the back, which is not all that good. They don't work that great, but it will actually throw a little bit of a spark in an emergency for you if you needed it to. But again, nothing like a good fire striker. But it is an option, but that's the best way to do it if you're going to make your own tinder. Now, as far as trying to do it here with the method of using this homemade or filled with a little bit of alcohol, this hand sanitizer, this stuff, again, incredible. You just pour a little bit right on there like that. And I mean, think of how many you could actually get out of one of these as far as fire starters go. Set your sparker there, throw a few sparks into it. Look at that. And now I'm going to bring it up here so you can see it. But it is actually burning incredibly hot right now. There is a huge, I mean, when I say burning, I mean it is burning, 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 burning. See, look at that. See? So definitely, and it'll burn for a very, very long time. So that is a huge advantage to have in the woods. That's still going strong and still burning. I could keep it going and going and going. It'll last for probably 6, 8, 10 minutes. It'll burn like that. Now, as far as, I'm going to actually put that out real quick here. And then, as far as making the actual fire itself, not using any of these, you can just use a tinder bundle like we have up here. You can light this all day long with the sparker. Take your sparker, put it in there, set a spark. If it doesn't light right away, don't be afraid to really rock this and get that flame going in there to help give you some sparks, and that'll get it kicked off better for you. But you can get it going and keep it like there. Oh, we had it. You want to keep this good and tight, smashed together, so it's a nice tinder ball like this, so that when it lights, it goes. And I got it there. Oh, there we go. Now it's burning. Once you get that burning and established, you want to start with these little baby sticks. Hang on, I actually want that burning better. Like I said, they can be finicky. It's where it's really nice to have fire starter material with you. But once you get that going, keep it going. It's like extremely humid here today. Like I mean seriously, like 100% humidity and 96 degrees. So this is going to be kind of tough to just light this stuff on its own. But there we go. We're going to keep that burning. Once we get that burning, we want to move right into those littler sticks. Keep those little sticks on there. I should have brought a bunch more little sticks. Then we want to move into our next size sticks. Keep those on there. Let those get going. Once those will start taking off, again, just keep the little sticks on there first. They're your fuel. They're what's going to actually make this all come together. Then you can move into your next size sticks. And then you can keep moving in right into your next size sticks, and before you know it, you have an actual full-blown fire. So that's kind of going to give you a little bit of how a fire works, how to make a fire, what's involved in the process of making fire, and some different methods to go about it. So again, there's going to be a full-blown podcast on this. It's going to explain it all in full detail and give you all the information again, and cover things in a more general purpose. I think I only have about 10 minutes that I'm allowed for video for upload, and we're about 9.5 minutes already. So I'm going to cut this off right here, and like I said, just look for the podcast. It'll give everything in full detail. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.